Hello, Aries. If you're hearing this voice right now, it isn't a coincidence. The universe is reaching out to you, sending a message your soul has been waiting a long time to receive. You've been the fire that walked alone through the dark, the flame that had to hide its loneliness behind its own radiant light. But now, something is shifting. The energy is moving again, something powerful is drawing near, and it all begins with you. So sit back, take a slow breath, and listen, because right after this, we're going to step into the very first chapter of your journey, where the fire of Aries begins to tell the story of the loneliness of the pioneer. The flame of Aries was never meant to fade into the darkness. From a very young age, you knew you were different. When others hesitated, you began. When the world was still uncertain, you were already walking forward. To the eyes of others, you've always been the strong one, the leader, the fire that opens the way. But in the quietest nights, only you know how lonely that fire can sometimes burn. There were nights when you looked back on your own journey, wondering why the stronger you became, the emptier your heart felt. You've always been the first to give, the first to trust, the first to love with your whole being. And yet, you were also the first to feel that quiet ache, the moment you realized not everyone could understand the warmth of your flame. You've walked into rooms filled with laughter and light, and still felt lost, because in that crowd no one was really listening. They saw your success, but not the exhaustion it took to shine that bright. They praised your strength, but never knew that sometimes all you wanted was for someone to gently ask, "Are you tired today?" People often think that those who shine the brightest don't need love, don't need comfort. But the truth is, it's the strongest souls who long the most to be understood. You don't need someone to walk ahead of you, you just need someone willing to walk beside you. Someone who can look toward the same light and believe in the same dreams. And yet for a long time you chose silence. You hid your pain behind smiles. You said, "I'm fine," so no one would see the cracks in your heart. And in that stillness, you learned to warm yourself with your own light. You began to understand that true strength isn't about needing no one, it's about keeping your kindness even when the world forgets to be kind to you. There were moments when you asked yourself, am I too different? Do I love too deeply, trust too easily, dream too big? But then, a small voice inside whispered, no, that's exactly what makes you special. Because without your fire, who would light the way for those who are lost? Aries. You've been an inspiration to many, but sometimes you forget that even those who inspire others also need warmth. No one can be strong forever, and you don't have to be. You have the right to be soft, to cry, to admit that you too need a hand to hold. If you feel a quiet heaviness in your heart right now, that's not weakness. It's the universe reminding you. It's time to rest for a while so your fire can burn bright again. Share in the comments. When was the last time you felt misunderstood for having a heart that burns too passionately? Don't be afraid to speak it out, because sometimes simply putting it into words is how you free yourself from the silence. And then, in the moment you finally accept that you no longer need to hide, something miraculous happens. When you release the fear of being alone, the universe quietly opens a new path, one where a soul begins to move toward you. A soul who isn't afraid of your fire, who doesn't want to dim it, but simply wants to shine with you. No warning, no signs, just a gentle breeze carrying a strange sense of familiarity. And just like that, when you thought you'd made peace with loneliness, something extraordinary begins to unfold. Love for Aries has never been a game. It has always been a battlefield, not to win, but to stay true to your heart. You've loved like a warrior, fiercely, honestly, without armor. You believed that if you gave your all, if you loved with purity, the other person would feel it too. But too often, what you received wasn't open arms, it was silence, manipulation, or the cold gaze of someone who never really saw your worth. People admired your fire, but feared being burned by it. They wanted your light, but not your heat. And little by little, you started dimming yourself. You learned to hold back, to love less, to speak less, to smile less, just so no one would ever call you too much. But how can fire stop burning when that is its very nature? How can a soul born to lead stand still for too long? Inside you lives the child who once believed that if love was real, it would be returned. And when that faith was betrayed, it didn't die, it simply hid in the quietest corner of your heart, waiting to be reborn. Old loves, half-kept promises, unanswered messages, they've become invisible scars on your heart. They didn't make you weaker. They just made you more careful. You began protecting yourself with distance, with silence, with that mask of indifference. But deep inside, your heart still beats to the rhythm of someone who longs to be loved truly, wholly, fearlessly. I believe souls like yours, Aries, were born to teach the world what real love means. But even you, amid the bruises and the battles, are learning your own sacred lesson, the lesson of enough. Enough faith to keep your heart open. Enough love to stay yourself. Enough letting go to finally be free from what's already ended. Somewhere along your path, you've smiled while your heart was breaking. You've pretended to be strong so no one would see your tears. You've stayed awake through a long night, not out of anger but because of pain, the kind that only comes from loving too genuinely in a world too afraid to be real. If you're hearing this right now, know this. There's nothing wrong with loving too deeply, trusting too early, or giving too much. You were never the problem. You simply gave your heart to hands that didn't yet know how to hold it. And those wounds, they weren't sent to punish you. They were sent to prepare you, to teach you how to recognize real love when it finally arrives. Take a moment, close your eyes, and ask yourself, when was the last time I pretended to be strong while my heart was breaking? Share that moment, because your story might be the light that helps someone else through their own silence. When we dare to speak our pain, it no longer owns us. And here's the miracle, Aries, in the longest nights that seemed endless, the universe was never still. It was rearranging everything. Every goodbye was preparation. Every wound was redirection. Every heartbreak, an invitation to something more honest, more sacred. Sometimes, to meet the soul that's truly meant for you, you must first walk through those who were never meant to stay, just as the flame must learn to burn alone, before it finds the hand that can burn beside it. And then in the ashes of what once was, you begin to feel a new wind, soft, but certain. It doesn't carry the bitterness of endings, but the warmth of something quietly approaching. No one knows exactly when it will arrive, only that your heart is opening again, like a small flame welcoming the first sunrise after a long storm. And from that moment on, a new chapter unfolds, where your wounds are no longer fears, but the map leading you back to the truest version of yourself. Something is shifting in the space around you, Aries. It's subtle, delicate like the first morning breeze, yet deep and unmistakably different. You can't see its shape, can't hear its voice, but your soul feels it. A familiar frequency is moving closer. It's an energy that doesn't scare you, doesn't demand that you change, doesn't ask you to hide or pretend. For the first time in a long while, someone is walking toward you, carrying the quiet calm of a soul who truly understands what light means. This person won't arrive with noise or grand promises. They'll come as a pause in your life, a stillness after a long storm, like sunlight filtering gently through leaves after the rain. They're not here to fix you, only to sit beside you, to listen, to look deep enough to see the glowing embers still burning inside you, waiting for someone brave enough to witness them without fear. They won't be overwhelmed by your intensity. They won't shrink when you speak too quickly, laugh too loudly, or love too deeply. They won't use words like too much or too intense to describe you. Instead, they'll smile, because they see in you what the world once overlooked: a courageous heart, a spirit too genuine to ever be fake. Their love won't make you smaller. It will make you larger within yourself. Beside them, you won't have to control your fire or hide your scars. You'll be free to be everything you are: strong, passionate, impulsive at times, but always full of kindness. They won't try to tame your fire. They'll learn to dance within it. Two strong souls don't meet to compete, they meet to harmonize. When two lights are pure enough, they don't blind each other. They make each other shine brighter. This person won't make you fear losing your freedom, because they are not here to possess you. They're here to build a space where both of you can breathe, trust, and walk toward the sun, side by side, not one behind the other. You'll recognize them not through words, but through a feeling A strange peace that isn't loud but radiates quietly. When you're near them, your heart won't race from anxiety, it will beat with life. You won't have to guess what they mean, they'll tell you. You won't have to shrink, they'll understand you. It's the rare kind of connection where everything fits without trying. Maybe in the first few glances you won't realize it's them, but your soul will long before your mind does. A look, a smile, a random conversation, all are signs from the universe gently reminding you it's time. Time for someone who doesn't run from your light, but walks closer, ready to shine with you. If you can feel that kind of energy weaving around your life, share it in the comments. Sometimes when we speak it aloud, the universe listens and miracles start moving faster toward us. And if you're wondering, why now? Remember, the universe never miscalculates timing. This person isn't coming to begin a random story. They're the result of everything you've lived through. Every person who left, every heartbreak, every painful lesson, all were steps preparing you to recognize true love when it finally stands before you. Like a garden after the storm, the soil needed time to dry before new life could grow. And now, as your sun rises again, a soul is moving closer, bringing with them what you have always deserved. A love without fear, without conditions, without limits. In that warm breath of presence, you'll understand that every collapse had meaning. They didn't come to break your faith, they came to clear the false so you could be ready for the real. And from the quiet center of your peace, you'll begin to hear the familiar sound of destiny, the soft whisper of the universe, telling you that the moment is near. Time, it's always been the thing that confuses us the most, hasn't it, Aries? We often want everything to happen the moment we feel ready, or at least when we think we are. But the universe moves to its own rhythm, slower, deeper, and far more precise than we could ever imagine. Every time you fell, every time you were betrayed, every time you placed your whole heart into something only to watch it break apart, none of it was meaningless. They weren't punishments. They were lessons, sacred training to make your soul strong enough to recognize what's truly precious when it finally arrives. There were nights you looked up at the sky and asked, "Why do I have to keep waiting?" While others seem to find happiness so easily. You felt like the one left outside, the one forgotten. But Aries, the universe has never forgotten you. It was simply waiting for you to see the deeper message hidden inside the delay. Every time a door closed, every person left, every dream fell apart, it wasn't the end. It was the universe gently pulling you away from what was never meant for you. Because if you had stayed, you would have never seen the light waiting just beyond the pain. Some truths can only be seen when we stand alone, and in those long, silent pauses, that's when you finally begin to hear the voice within, the quiet call of your soul asking you to stop, to breathe slower, and to look inward. True love doesn't come to fill an emptiness. It comes when you've learned to stand fully within that emptiness without fear. The universe never wanted you to love out of loneliness. It wanted you to love out of wholeness, to understand that you don't need someone to be complete. But when the right person arrives, they'll make your light shine even brighter. Every delay was divine protection. Every ending was sacred redirection. Every delay has been holy protection. Every ending a sacred redirection. The people who hurt you weren't meant to destroy your faith. They came to teach you how to recognize the real from the illusion. And from that clarity, you began choosing with intuition instead of longing. Look back on one of your past relationships, not with regret but with gratitude. Because without them, you might never have learned to love yourself this deeply. If you ever stayed up all night for someone who couldn't value you, know that the night wasn't wasted. It was the night you became wiser, clearer, and closer to who you truly are. Share in the comments if there's a past relationship you only later understood had to end. Your story might be the very light someone else needs while they walk through their own heartbreak. Because when we tell our stories, we don't just heal ourselves. We quietly open the way for others to heal too. Maybe you're still waiting right now, but don't let the waiting feel heavy. Let it become a season of preparation, a time to know yourself more, to love yourself more, so that when the right person arrives, you'll be ready to receive them without fear. Because one day soon, when you're no longer waiting, when you're simply being, living freely, peacefully, they'll appear, as if they've always belonged here, as if the universe was only waiting for you to shine bright enough to see them. And when that moment comes, you'll understand. Every delay was perfect. Nothing was wrong, nothing was late. The universe was aligning every beat, every breath, so your soul could finally meet the one it has searched for all along. A soul not here to fill an empty space, but to mirror the light within you, the light you've built through every test, every fall, every rise. And when that moment arrives, you won't ask, why now? Because your heart will already know that everything happened exactly on time, like a flower that blooms at dawn, never rushed, never late, just perfectly, divinely, right on time. Not everyone who enters your life is meant to stay, Aries, and not everyone who leaves is a loss. Each person arrives with a purpose, and one of them, just one, is sent to help you see yourself again. This person won't come to save you. They'll come to walk beside you through the dark, one step at a time, guided by the light within your own heart. They won't fear your fire, nor will they leave when you're vulnerable. When you're angry, they'll listen instead of reacting. When you fall silent, they'll understand that silence is how your tired soul protects itself. And when you cry, they won't rush to comfort or fix you. They'll simply sit beside you, so you'll know you're not alone. Their love won't be loud. It will be gentle as wind, warm as sunlight, patient as time. They won't ask why you failed or why you fear love. They'll know that your cracks are proof of courage, because only those who have dared to love deeply bear such beautiful scars. They'll look at those scars not with pity but with reverence. This person will remind you of something vital, that real strength isn't about never falling, but about rising again, softer each time. They won't carry your pain for you, but they'll hold your hand while you walk through it yourself. They won't say, "Let me heal you." They'll say, "You can heal yourself, and I'll be here watching you do it." The right person doesn't heal your wounds, they remind you that you can heal yourself. Yes, the one who's meant to stay won't patch your broken pieces. They'll remind you that you were never broken beyond repair. And when you begin to see yourself through their eyes, something miraculous happens. You realize you were never weak. You were simply learning to be gentler with your own heart. Maybe you once believed that to be loved, you had to be perfect. But this person will show you that imperfection is what makes you real. They'll see both your light and your shadow and still choose to stay. Not because they're fearless, but because they know true love doesn't demand perfection, only honesty. If you're hearing this now, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, what have you learned from your broken heart? Have you become stronger, or simply learned to love yourself a little more? Share that truth, because sometimes your story might be the light for someone else still finding their way through the dark. When this person arrives, you won't need to impress them. You won't need to hide your fears or pretend to be strong. They'll see courage even in your trembling. They'll see power in your eyes, even when you feel your weakest. And you'll finally understand love isn't a place to prove yourself. It's the place you come home to. This love will not only change how you see others, it will change how you see yourself. It will teach you that you deserve tenderness, that you are worthy of a hand that holds yours without conditions. You'll begin to treat yourself with the same compassion you once gave so freely to others. And in that warm light, you'll see something beautiful. The wounds that once hurt you have become the veins of your strength. They don't make you less, they make you real, deep human. And as your heart begins to beat with a new rhythm of faith, you'll realize this meeting isn't just the start of a relationship. It's the awakening of your soul. A new chapter is unfolding, where love is no longer something to chase, but something to share. Where you no longer need to prove your worth, you simply shine as you are. And in the quiet moment, you finally release every fear. A new wind will touch your heart, opening the path to a transformation far deeper than you ever imagined. Sometimes, happiness doesn't return with loud laughter, but with a quiet smile on a face that had long stopped believing in miracles. For Aries, the one who's walked through emotional storms, joy once felt like a luxury. You've grown used to holding yourself together, to living with the rhythm of someone who doesn't allow softness. But then, one ordinary day, with no warning, no grand entrance, someone arrives. They don't say anything extraordinary, they just carry a gentle gaze, and somehow, your heart exhales for the first time in a long while. This person will make you laugh again, not through noise or performance, but through safety. They'll make you believe again, not through promises, but through small, genuine gestures that speak louder than words. They'll make you feel lighter, because around them you no longer have to prove anything. You simply get to be simple, real, and alive. True love isn't the kind that makes your heart race with anxiety. It's the kind that makes every heartbeat feel calm. It doesn't come to stir chaos. It comes to soothe. It doesn't make you run. It teaches you that stillness can be safe. And when you're beside this person, you'll realize love doesn't need to be dramatic to be deep. It doesn't need to be intense to last. Sometimes, destiny doesn't arrive as lightning, but as an unspoken gaze that makes you feel like you've finally come home after a long, stormy journey. When love feels peaceful, that's when your soul finally recognizes home. When love brings peace, that's when your soul remembers where it belongs. Because peace is the language of tired souls, of hearts that have broken and healed, of those who have learned that the rarest treasure isn't passion, it's presence. That quiet joy will teach you to value the smallest things, a morning spent making coffee together, an afternoon reading side by side, a gentle touch for no reason at all. You'll see that happiness doesn't need big plans or grand promises. It just needs someone who understands your silence and chooses to stay anyway. If you're hearing this right now, take a moment to remember who has ever made you feel at peace. It doesn't have to be someone you loved romantically. Just someone who made you feel seen, safe, understood. Share that memory. Because when you speak gratitude, the universe listens. And through that vibration of thankfulness, a greater love begins to move closer. Faith is returning, Aries, quietly, naturally. It returns through a look, a smile, a breath, in the simple awareness that you are here now. You'll realize that happiness isn't a destination. It's the way you touch the present moment. And when your heart finally relaxes, when it no longer carries the weight of the past, a new light will begin to seep in, soft as morning sun, real as hope. Then you'll see what's coming isn't just a relationship. It's a rebirth of your soul, a homecoming to yourself, where you can love without fear, trust without doubt, and live without dimming the fire you were born with. And from that still, peaceful place, you'll begin to hear it, a small yet powerful sound. The sound of awakening, as a new chapter quietly unfolds. In the gentle light of true love, your fire has walked through many seasons, Aries. There were days when it burned so bright it blinded the world, and nights when it was just a faint flicker trembling in the cold wind. You once believed you'd have to live your whole life with that loneliness, carrying your light through the dark, unseen, untouched, unshared. But at the end of the road, where sunset meets dawn, another soul begins to walk toward you, not to extinguish your flame, but to help you light up the sky. This person will not come to possess or control. They will arrive like wind, like light, like the natural breath of the universe itself. With them, you won't have to shrink to fit, nor burn too bright to be noticed. The love between you won't explode, it will radiate. Steady, warm, deep. Two flames don't destroy each other. They create light for the world. When your soul meets theirs, fear of loss disappears. Old wounds fade. What remains is silence, the kind of silence that only exists when you've finally found where you belong. They will see in you what the world once missed. They'll understand that behind your strength lies a gentle heart. Behind your confident smile, a soul that has endured. And behind your light, an unshakable faith. They won't fear being overshadowed, because they carry a light of their own, not competing, not controlling, but harmonizing. With this person, love is no longer a battle, it becomes a symphony. Two once lonely energies now find each other, and together they compose a softer, stronger light. It's a love that doesn't take you away from yourself, it helps you see yourself more clearly. A love that needs no vows, because trust is built in the quiet between your hearts. Aries. You've walked through pride, through pain, through silence, through waiting, not to become harder, but to become truer. Because only when you've learned to love yourself can you love another without needing to hold on so tightly. This love is proof that when we meet the right person, love stops being possession and becomes resonance. It doesn't make you smaller to fit. It allows both of you to expand, to grow, to shine brighter together. This person might not arrive when you expect them. But remember, the universe is never late. True love never rushes. It comes when you are peaceful enough to see it, when you've stopped chasing and simply started opening. And when these two souls meet, the world seems to slow down. Old pain melts away like morning mist. There's only you and them standing in the sea of light that recognition and understanding create. If this message feels like it's calling your name, write in the comments, "I'm ready for someone who celebrates my fire, not fears it." It's not just a sentence, it's a promise. A sacred commitment your soul makes to the universe, saying, "I am ready for a love without fear." Thank you, Aries, for listening with your heart. May the light within you always find someone worthy to shine beside, not just to illuminate each other, but to rekindle hope in the hearts of the world.